Hi guys, welcome back to my podcast. Today I'm going to be talking about left-handed crocheters. I am a left-handed crocheter, and only about 10% of the population is left-handed in general. And so that means that the vast majority of things from like scissors to crochet patterns are set up for right-handed people because they're about 90% of the population. So how different is it to crochet left-handed versus right-handed, and is it harder, and like can you still make patterns? Because there's a big misconception amongst people in the crochet community that left-handed crocheters can't make patterns. So let's get into it. So left-handed crocheters crochet from left to right, while right-handed crocheters crochet from right to left. So everything that I crochet is a mirror image of someone else's work that is right-handed. So there's only certain types of projects that you can really tell in the mirror image. So for example, like asymmetrical shawls, if it's supposed to decrease down the left side versus the right side, the right-handed person will decrease down one side, and then the left-handed person will decrease on the other side, and it will be a mirror image. So a good example of that is the rancher shawl I made, and I brought it with me to show you guys. So it's a Tunisian crochet shawl, and so that means there's a front and a back. And if you can see, this is the front side, and mine swoops this way, whereas the pattern that Toni Lipsey made, because she's right-handed, it would look like this, how it swoops down, but that's the back side for me. So because I'm left-handed, I even Tunisian crocheted backwards, and yeah, so it's a backwards pattern. But I personally don't mind that all of my projects are mirror images of someone who's right-handed. I think it's neat and part of what makes my projects unique. But I know for certain things, you want it to look like the pattern, and there are some like tricks that you can use to make your left-handed crochet look like a right-handed person's without actually crocheting with your right hand. So, for example, charted patterns. They're a lot easier to mimic, in my personal opinion, because you can just look at the chart and you can even put it into a photo editor and just flip it. So then you can basically read the chart as a right-handed person would, and then it will come out exactly as a right-handed person's. So if you are on a computer, for example, you can take a screenshot of the chart and put it into a photo editor and flip it, and then just crochet like that. And at least in my mind, that makes it easier. I have done that on several instances. For example, mosaic crochet charts, it's really easy on. These are like little blocks that you follow, and that shows you where the colors are supposed to be. So if you flip it, it's really easy to follow along with, and then your pattern comes out the way that the designer intended and not backwards. So that's one way you can get around it. Written patterns, I personally think, are a little harder because they take more time and patience to reverse engineer. So you have to go line by line and start at the end of the line and then work from the end of the line to the beginning of the line for every line in the pattern. And for me personally, my brain doesn't work like that. I've tried it on one occasion with one of like an amigurumi patterns. I don't remember which one. And I just couldn't wrap my head around it personally, but I know that there are people out there that are much better at it and can even like write down the instructions backwards if that's easier for them, like in a separate like PDF document or Word document or whatever. And that's how they make their pattern look exactly like the right-handed pattern. And then for video tutorials, especially when you're learning and starting out in crocheting, there's a couple tricks that you can use to follow if you want to follow a right-handed pattern. There are a decent amount of left-handed tutorials out there, especially for simple basic things like learn the single crochet stitch and other stitches and like decreasing and increasing. And there's a lot of really good tutorials out there. When I first started crocheting, I learned how to crochet with YouTube tutorials, and I didn't know that there were left-handed crochet tutorials. So I just watched the right-handed ones because I found a couple of people that I really liked watching as a beginner, and my mind picked up on how to mirror image what I was watching really quickly. So if you are watching a particular designer and she has a pattern tutorial like for a tricky step or a tricky way to do something in her pattern and she's right-handed, you can get the hang of it over time, how to follow those. And I don't actively look up left-handed crochet tutorials because my mind is just used to following the right-handed ones. So it's actually weird for me to watch the left-handed ones because my brain wants to mirror it, and then that's when I get confused. But if you do want to watch a right-handed tutorial and you're a beginner, you can put the computer or the phone or wherever you're watching the video on, like facing a mirror, and then watch from the mirror. Like maybe a vanity, some larger mirror would be better because then you can like watch along more easily. But if you had like a circle mirror that you maybe do your makeup in, you can set it up so you can watch from the mirror when your screen's facing it, and that will make it look like a left-handed person is playing the video for you. So that's a pretty nifty trick that I have come across in my time crocheting. And I've never used it because I don't like watching the left-handed tutorials personally. But I know that does help, especially really new people to crochet that are left-handed. So you can also teach yourself how to crochet right-handed if you would like. I know that some people learn how to crochet left-handed because that's how they were taught. And I know that some lefties learn right-handed because that's how they were taught. I've tried crocheting right-handed before, right-handed, and I just don't have the like muscle movements down. It looks really bad. So I definitely prefer to crochet left-handed. But those are my general tips for you. And I know that it can be disheartening, especially as a beginner, and you might not even understand why your project looks backwards, almost like mirrored. And I know in the beginning I didn't even realize that mine would look different, my projects would look different than the pattern would because I was so new and I just didn't understand that there was a difference. So being a left-handed crocheter, I would like to share my experiences with other people so that they understand that there is nothing wrong with them. They're still following the pattern. They're still going to make a beautiful project, but it will be mirrored, and that's cool, and it makes it fun. And crochet is supposed to be fun, and enjoyable and about the process and the end make. So I understand wanting it to look exactly like the pattern. I personally don't mind it looking backwards though, or mirrored. I think it's neat and interesting. But if you have any questions for me on what it's like to be left-handed and a crocheter, I would love to hear about it, and any of your personal experiences or anecdotes as either a left or a right-handed crocheter. I'd love to hear about them in the comments. And if you like watching this video, I'd love if you liked it. And if you want to subscribe, I'd love that too. And thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!